can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no.
So we're standing here because the hallway is unmarked and it's very complicated, but it's just down there.
I've been talking about this tidal waves of voter suppression laws since the last time Biden was in a presidential administration, since the Obama years. What I never thought I would ever hear was colleagues of mine say that they're considering not running for office because the voter suppression laws are that effective. Georgia, Texas, Arizona have given themselves the power to overturn future elections. Their legislatures have the power to overturn future elections. So you have people of color right now who are having conversations like my grandfather's granddaddy had over 100 years ago, saying, why even run?
When the police officers make an arrest, or before they effect an arrest on anyone participating in civil disobedience in the city of Washington, D.C., they have to give out 3 warnings. Now, those warnings can come really fast and they can be really quiet, but one of my jobs, and one of the jobs of one of the people who are with this group, is to listen out for those warnings, to make sure that folks who do not want to get arrested can exit the perimeter after warning 1 or warning 2, okay? So, once again, after you zip tie yourselves to the bike rack, if they're going to make an arrest, they're going to create a perimeter around the people who are zip tied to the bike rack and start announcing warnings. As far as this is your first warning, this is your second warning, we're going to make an arrest, this is your third warning, they're going to effect the arrest.
Today I am at the White House in an act of civil disobedience and a rally protest for voting rights, to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act by the U.S. Senate and Congress. We need the Senate to end the filibuster, to carve out an exception to ensure that voting rights can be expanded to the American people. You should not have legislators fleeing Texas and trying to figure out how do they fight in Georgia and all these southern states to have just the foundation of what America is supposed to be about, the right to vote. We already know that from the very beginning of all of this, that originally only white men could vote. And now legislatures that are majority white men are trying to strip or restrict the rights of vote to people all over this country. And so we're here today to demand more. I'm excited and humbled at the same time to be with People for the American Way, as well as the League of Women Voters and others, because at the end of the day, every generation has to do its part to make sure that the people who serve in that office do what's right by all people. Keep pushing, do good, seek justice.
What do we want?
Voting rights!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Voting rights!
When do we want it?
Now!
It is about the spirit of the movement, which is really about the spirit of humanity. You've got to touch something deep in you, that as you look around you. Every single human being deserves to be respected and honored.
So now it's my honor to bring up our last speaker, powerful voice from the Deep South, Gary Chambers, founder and president of Bigger Than Me. Gary?
You know, far too often, history has required that people stand up and demand that justice and equity exist for us all. It is amazing to me that a president who got more votes than any other president in the U.S. history to be elected can't flip 1 vote in the U.S. Senate. If you could convince 80 million people to vote for you, Joe, surely you can convince Senator Manchin and Sinema to do their job in the U.S. Senate and expand and protect voting rights. That if we are going to have a democracy for all people, that your words where you said that we are in a moment where the very right to vote is under attack and your job is to help protect it. 36 years old is how old I am. That's how many years you served in the U.S. Senate. So if it is that you have 3 decades of experience in the Senate, don't tell me that you can't flip a vote, Joe. If we have come this far, I want you to understand one thing, that there's a generation waking up and they'll stand at your door too, and they'll demand more of you. And you can't tell us that you're with us, you're gonna have to show us that you're with us by what you do with the powers that you have. I am from a state that ranks 50th in the nation. So when I come here, the burden of coming 1,100 miles to speak for people who cannot often afford to come be heard outside the White House, who are too busy trying to get people in state legislatures to do right by them in a state that is 34% black, where we are underrepresented in our legislature and in the U.S. Congress. And Mr. President, you have the power to do something about it. If we build a more just and a more inclusive democracy, then the people who come to D.C. to speak for us and represent us will look like us, rather than look like what it has looked like for 400 years. Where I'm from, we make gumbo and we talk loud and we dance and we make noise, but we fight for change, and we believe that America is only as good as its people. And while you sit in the people's house, it is your job and your duty to honor the people who put you there. If you got 80 million votes, Joe, go ahead and flip the last 2.
Free DC! Free DC! Voting rights! When do we want them? Now! What do we want? Voting rights! When do we want them? Now!
You're allowed to be anywhere you want. It's a free park.
But I'm not trying to better than that. Louder, 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 louder. Got to go. Hey, hey. Hey, Joe. Get on to freedom, man. Ain't gonna let the filibuster turn me around. Oh, Lord, turn me around. Don't let it turn me around.
It takes 51 votes to secure our voting rights. It takes 51 seconds for the president to tell the Senate to do their job.
What will you risk? What will you give up? What will you allow to be your legacy so that the words of the prophet that said, do justice, walk mercy, and walk humbly in my footsteps, what risk will you take? And now we're asking God, what risk is Joe gonna take? What risk is the Senate gonna take? What risk is the House gonna take? Because it's not their house, it's our house.
Ain't gonna let Joe Biden turn us around, turn us around, turn us around.
Right here, 1, 2, 3. Right here, everyone, right here, 1, 2, 3.
That's okay, thanks. Got it. That's our people for, fam. I think
Dr. Turner, come on,
voters, y'all need to get one.
Come on this side.
Stay right here, Dr. Turner.
Yes, sir.
Right there. There we go. Across the ground. There we go.
So we came to the White House, demonstrated today, made some noise to tell the president to do your job. If Joe Biden can flip 80 million votes, surely he could flip 2. We have a Voting Rights Act to pass. We got work to do, y'all. Keep pushing.